We need to talk about Ethereum again. This week, we saw Ethereum drop over 2 days, 21%. This is very similar to what we saw back over here on the 7th of October. Ethereum dropped 27% over 4 days. There was a nice little recovery rally up 15%, only for it to roll back over again. And I'm filming this a day in advance, so I don't know what this is going to look like by the time this video is published. And it looks like Ethereum could be rallying and recovering here. But the reality is that this is literally an echo, almost a copy-paste of what we've already seen happen to Ethereum this year. But before I get into it, what's up? My name is Aaron Dishner from The Better Traders, and you are watching Coin Bureau Trading. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button, like the video, so that way you don't forget, because you're going to be razzle-dazzled with all the information I'm going to be sharing with you in today's video. So, the first thing we need to do on this chart is we need to zoom out. When in doubt, zoom out. There have been several breakdowns for Ethereum over the years. Going back over here to March 2024, we saw some pretty brutal breakdowns and a really nice recovery here. Just so you know, May 20th, 2024, this is when the Ethereum spot ETF was approved, and there was an insta pump of 20%. It actually went up higher than that, went up all the way just below $4,000, and that was the top. Now, what I want you to pay attention to are these right here. These big, ugly breakdowns for Ethereum that happen real fast and they go real deep. Yes, they will have a recovery, but inevitably what happens again is we get another massive, massive breakdown. And it keeps doing this over and over again until the poor thing bottoms out. And it's not just these two instances here in July 2024, and again in late July into August 2024. This happens yet again over here, December 2024. We see BTC, I get that habit. Ethereum up here to $4,200. Feels good, $4,100. And then we get a pretty deep sell-off of 25%. The price of Ethereum does manage to recover a little bit, but it slips again, it slips again, it slips again, it slips again, until it finally bottoms out down here at a paltry $1,300. This drop right here was awful. This is when even I was laughing at Ethereum. Ethereum did come back with a vengeance, and it did actually manage to put in a higher high, all the way up here at a ridiculous $4,956. Just, what, $44 shy of $5,000? But unfortunately, the same thing is happening again. Here on the 7th, we had the leading up to the liquidation event, Ethereum had a really devastating drop of 27%. Note that we did see a nice recovery bounce here for Ethereum, a 15% if we're not taking this into account, right? So it's not bad, but what happens the day after that? It goes right back down, has a little bit more left, tries again, falls more, falls more. Guys, this is the same thing that has been playing out. Actually, I want to keep that. Ever since 2024, we've seen the same thing happen over and over with Ethereum. And it's not just with the price either. Actually, what I want to look at next are fibs. So if we go back to analyze 2022's fibs, so this is our 2021 high over here to our 2022 low. We can see almost the same thing happening back over here in the bear market too, just so you know. Nice recovery, massive drop, 26%. The price is able to recover, feeling good until it falls, until it falls, until it falls, until it falls a lot further down to $2,000, where people think, oh, thank God it's bottomed out. So there will be moments where we will see the market collectively recover and charts will go up 50%, 100%, 200%, but it does not mean that everything's okay. We know what happens after this. Ethereum falls yet again, brutally falling lower and lower until it just stops below $1,000 over here in June. Now, what I need you to look at is price action regarding the fibs from this point on. Okay, so we're looking at 2022 fibs that have been respected extremely well For starters, we can see the price dancing around the 0.5 fib. It's really trying to hold above here, the 786, but struggling. Finding support here at the 618, right here, finding resistance at the 5, coming almost all the way down to the 236, going right back up the ladder again, bouncing on the 786, going up to the 1, and now here we are back at the 786 yet again. This has been brutal price action. So I want to genuinely ask you, what is so different between this period and this period? What's to stop Ethereum from going lower? Or let me say it differently. What would be the catalyst for Ethereum to go up to $8,000, which was my original target? So maybe the United States does switch to quantitative easing. Maybe a lot of stimulus checks are sent out and people actually want to buy crypto, which, I mean, a lot of people got burned with meme coins. A lot of people got burned in the bear market. And last time I checked, the stock market is doing really well. So I don't really see a huge demand for people to get into crypto, but that's besides the point. I also want to look at the 2025 fibs. What we're seeing right now is we're seeing a lot of respect of these levels, the 786 there and the 786 here. And funny enough, our 2018 fibs have done such a good job of plotting out our resistance and our support levels this entire time. Support down here at 1440 and coming right back down to support again. So yes, there is a chance that Ethereum might bounce from here because we have 3 RSI levels that kind of agree that this is a good level. But in order for things to really be good for Ethereum, it needs to do what it hasn't done the last several times, and that's break above resistance on the downtrend. There was just one moment here because of the spot ETF, and then it resumed. Actually, I'm convinced that if we took this measurement right here, we go ahead and get the bars pattern from here all the way to here, I'm fairly convinced that we should have seen Ethereum go down to 1340 if we just let it keep going. Oh, it's being very generous and very kind. Let's take this one and actually not use the high-low. Let's just do the, oh no, high-low is fine. It's actually okay. This looks too nice and generous though. Honestly, this is where it would be. And I feel like we basically got it interrupted. It went down to the same or similar levels. It was supposed to go down a lot more and it didn't. So finally, it returned all the way down here to 1400. And now here we are, starting the whole thing up again. Now, I have something else that I need to show you to support why I think this is going to be happening and how I'm going to be approaching it. Feel free to laugh in my face all you want. But to me, the signs are clear that Ethereum is repeating the same bearish pattern again. But before I get into that, check out the links down below. For Femex, BYDFi, 2bit, all these are cool exchanges that you can use, whether it's Femex giving away $30,000 in rewards, BYDFi $10,100 up for grabs, or 2bit, which is a non-KYC requiring exchange, giving away 15,000 USDT if you trade and earn. Coin Bureau also has a lot of other deals here on their webpage. If you go and click on the deals button, the first thing to check out is the Coin Bureau Club. There are other tools, other exchanges, other things that you can check out, including a 10% off discount to our course, The Better Traders, 15 Minutes to Financial Freedom. Now, I want to go back to talk about this. You guys know that I like the TBO. I'm getting there in a second. The main reason why I am against this actually rallying up higher is because reality tells me that we already lost the plot. On the 10th, a lot of things were broken. Nick has actually said this repeatedly on his X account or whatever. He's tweeting, posting everyone to say it. But there was a lot of stuff that got broken on the 10th. And I feel like Ethereum is one of those things that it lost the plot and it is confirmed bearish. That's for sure. Now, if things were to radically change for Ethereum, it would have to move up a whole lot just to even test resistance. A 23% move just to test resistance. If it were to do it today, 25%. But let's say we get one of these kind of moves right here, where we get an amazing recovery that goes all the way back up. Something incredible like this, right? So let's say we get one of those. Even this move, which had a recovery of approximately 22%, only puts us up to about $4,000. We would need such a huge dramatic move. And if it did the same exact thing, like it's a pretty tall order, in my opinion. Not impossible, but a pretty tall order. Maybe the stars were aligned, but that's just to get up to resistance. That's just to get up to resistance. So personally, looking at this, I'm not really betting on the fact that it's going to go up here. I think there might be an intermittent move where it goes up, and this is where our fibs can come into play. So we have our 2022 fibs, 2025 fibs. So we know we're in this zone at the lower bottom. So it doesn't make sense to start shorting here, in my personal opinion. What makes more sense is to look at price-based support and resistance levels. So around the $3,800 level, that would make the most sense. And that would be a recovery for Ethereum that would have bulls elated up 11%, only to have it roll over again. But there's no reason that it should actually pump up that high at all. It might not. So this is where the TBO comes into play. I really love the TBO because it gives me confirmation on the trend. Now, the first thing that I'll be doing, the moment that the price goes up here to this pink line, which is the TBO fast line, I'm going to be looking at building a short, even when it's getting up close to it. Because you can see, ever since the 10th, every single time it's come up here, it's been an incredible entry for a short position. For another short position, even though it goes against, it might have got stopped out, it was still a great entry for a short. Still a great entry for a short. I don't think anything like that is going to change. Oh, and by the way, if you think I'm just basing this off of this little pink line, you can use any moving average you want. It's fine. But the thing that makes this different is I want you to see this price action right here. See all these candles below this big mass? This is called the TBO cloud. It comprises of 4 different moving averages and it makes this big shape. So when things are bullish, it's green. But when things are moving into a transition, it starts to turn gray. Keep that in mind because that same exact thing happened over here in 2025 in February, literally the same thing. And notice the price kind of moved to the side, eventually hit the fast line, even moved up a little bit more, and it absolutely dumped. And it's not just this time either. Back over here, same thing. Seeing the price drop below, comes back up. There is a little bit of a victory lap of 9%, but it turns out to be a great entry for a short. Over and over and over. If we go back even further, anytime that Ethereum's price has been below the cloud like this, it is a warning. This is when prices for any chart become strong bearish. So even on the slightest little pump that we might have, which will feel really good for bulls in the short term, my opinion right now is that it's going to be short-lived and it will basically create an incredible opportunity for us to short these little pumps that happen. Now, as with anything, you have to use proper risk management. If you are shorting the market, make sure that you're using a stop loss. If you haven't learned already, stop losses help you to stop losing money. So even if you get stopped out and you're using proper risk-reward management, you're even using a risk-to-reward ratio of 2, which is pretty ridiculous. Usually 3-to-1 is better, but let's just say you want to use even 2, or you want to do 1-to-1. You need to be comfortable with the idea of being stopped out because the reality is that crypto will pump out of nowhere. It just can. But the main thing is that when the price goes below the cloud, it's an extremely bearish sign. And it's actually something that I call it strong bearish mode. This does not mean in any way, shape, or form that I believe that Ethereum is going to go up to even $5,000. I personally believe that we've reached the end of the bull market for many reasons that I've shared before. Oh, and one more thing. I want to just help drive this home one more time because I know you guys are already tired of my voice and it already sounds a little bit raw. We've had multiple TBT bearish divergences on the way up, finally with a cluster. For all of you that have been watching my videos and paying attention, at the end of August, I shared this cluster and I said, guys, you can't really ignore this. This is when Ethereum was at 4640. Now the price is 26% lower. Here are TBT bearish divergences before the previous fall of 65%. Here are 2 more over here before another fall of 44%. Here's another one before a fall of 30%. The difference between these guys is because the uptrend is strong. Right now, there is no more of a strong uptrend. The price of Ethereum is well below the cloud. And eventually this slow line is going to flatten out. It's going to curl down, and it's going to be rough riding for what I believe is going to be another year of a bear market, which means my expectations personally is that the bear market bottoms out somewhere around here in November. So one last thing to talk about, where is Ethereum headed? Well, ladies and gents, we're going to make this a lot easier to look at. There's a couple of things to pay attention to. The one obvious thing, I thought I had it, is we have a low here, 881, what's wrong with me? 881, and our low here. Just so you know, if Ethereum were to keep falling and it falls down here to support, that's only 53%. That's not really the norm for a bear market. The last bear market we had, Ethereum lost 81%. So 53% is out of the question. If we measure it from up here, it's only 67%. It'll probably be falling down here to about $1,000. That's at least my guesstimate. I think that makes a lot of sense. I don't have any other inside information as to that's exactly where it's falling to. But if I were to make a bet, I think a lot of people are looking at this as support, and that support's going to be broken. Like so many other support levels been broken during bear markets because people are looking for anything to help improve and to pump up their own bullish bias, where it just makes a lot of sense to follow the money. Because if the trend is really your friend and you're ignoring it, you're really not being a very good friend. You're really not. So the long and short of it, is that I am looking at opening a short on Ethereum if it does have some sort of recovery rally to a higher price. You have to use good and proper risk management. You should not be aping into anything. Make sure that you're using a good risk-to-reward ratio. Make sure that you're using a stop loss. All of those things that you still haven't done, consider it, okay? It really does help a lot. And I also want to say this too. In shorting, you will not always make money. You will get stopped out sometimes. The market will go against you. The market will just do like a flash pump. It's normal and it's okay. It's okay to be stopped out, and it's always better to be stopped out instead of being liquidated. You may not want to agree with me, but I think if you haven't learned your lesson after October 10th's flush, now's the time to actually consider my words as words of care and advice. But you have to do whatever you want to do. I need you to watch this video because I've already shared where I think Bitcoin is going to be heading over the course of next year, which is literally around the corner. Watch this video next. And until the next time, you know what to do. Stay awesome and stay in the green. Peace.